We're going to talk today about discovering what every business owner or business executive gets wrong about digital marketing roles. I have been in some chat groups where I've seen digital marketing roles, and it's like every digital marketing description underneath the job, underneath the sun rolled into one and for like $5. Or some of them just not missing the mark, not understanding what should you really be hiring for. And so we really want to help you better understand how to approach the hiring process for digital, because there are a lot of roles in there. There are a lot of things that can happen, and you want to make sure you have the right person doing the job, not personality wise, but the right skill set based on your goals. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be exciting, I promise you. All right. So, our first point number one is, what specific digital marketing roles do you think you need and why? It's a really great place for a business executive to start to really ask the question, well, what do you really need? If you are thinking about your business goals, I want to increase leads to my website by 10%. I want to increase visibility for my brand by X%. Then you kind of have to start to think, well, what do I want someone to do? I want someone who's going to drive leads, right? That's the end result. So you have to think about your goals and start wrapping your mind around that, so that you start kind of formulating a framework for what you want this person to be able to do. So as the business owner, the business executive, you really have to, you can't jump in feet first and be like, I'm going to just get this person. How are they connecting back to the goals? What do you want this person to do?
I think this is a great place to start, right? Really asking yourself that question. Do you need a strategic person? Do you need a tactical person? Do you need an implementer, right? Starting there, literally, what role are you trying to fill within your business? And as you said, why? What makes this role significant? I think this is a perfect place to start, really kind of understanding what you need as far as going forward that gets results. That's a key thing here, gets results. So you don't want to just bring in somebody in a role where, as we just mentioned in the hot topic, you're solving for the wrong problem.
I think, yeah, this is such a great place to start at the basic level. And I'm drawn to the thought of understanding. It also comes back to what you yourself have in place, right? Because if, let's just say, if you don't have a functioning website, then you can't really tackle SEO. You probably have a functioning social media page, so maybe you want to push content there. So understanding the role is critical. You may not be ready for a full digital marketing strategist just yet, but maybe like in this little piece of the digital pie, you have a really good following on social media, and maybe you're trying to grow that following, or you're trying to do some work there. Email marketing may not be for you. So the role that starting here is really good, because then it really it forces you to assess what is it that you really need, because you might, as Michael said, you might end up bringing on a role that's not relevant to you. And like I said, the example I give was, if you don't have a function website, then you're not ready to talk the SEO game, you're not ready to talk other types of digital marketing. So great place to start.
I think I'm in the translation table of all of this for small business owners who are unfamiliar with the term. It's your opportunity to educate yourself and understand what that world is all about, and who these people are, and what the role they may play, and where your community resides. Is your community more, as Andrew's saying, somebody that's on a LinkedIn, that is, a YouTuber, or by email? What's the touch points that you have to work through, and understanding the roles that they need to have in a specific place, because you may need to lean heavier into a social media manager as well as SEO. But if you don't understand the terms and understanding what you really want and where your client resides, you're not going to understand where you need to have a presence. So understanding the terminology and what you really want and where your customer resides is key in trying to help to make that decision as well. And good morning, Juma. Good to see you. Happy Monday to you.
I love that. You guys made some really valid points there. But it's really important. And, even if it's an HR person that's doing the hiring, right? These are some of the questions that you might need to ask your business executive. You really need to make sure that you're getting the most information so that you can really help inform that position. What are they looking for? What do they need to accomplish? What do you think you need this role to accomplish? And there's some level of understanding of the roles, but if you know your business goals, you can kind of say, hey, you don't have to be an SEO strategist to know, hey, I'm trying to do these things, right? So break it down to that common denominator. What are you trying to accomplish? Next question. How do you envision these roles interacting with your existing team? So I love this question because I was actually talking to a friend the other day um, who actually has a marketer on who is kind of like doing their own thing. And so she's trying to connect the dots for her company to say, hey, this should be, moving in this direction. It can't just drive you likes and follows. It really has to connect to what we need, our target audience. And so there's a disconnect there. And so another reason we do this show to have the CFO on, to have sales and pricing on, operations and marketing connecting, so that we are aware of what your goals are for the entire team. There's no silo and we're breaking that down. So, understanding how this role is going to connect with your existing team is really, really important. So you get an opportunity to get feedback from the CFO. What are you expecting? Same thing, you get to get feedback from all these people as you build to it. So there's an expectation this person is going to come in and fit into the team and be able to work across the aisles.
I was going to say, I love this point because we, again, not to push on this hard, but we always speak on how important it is to integrate. We are all a team, and how it's important to let everyone in the team understand the vision and the goal, and how each team member plays a key pivotal role in the success of the business. That person can't work in a silo if they're not understanding how your entire team moves and operates, the nuances of little things that are spoken when you're all in meetings together that are key components to the success of every team member. And that person that you're trying to hire to bring into the digital marketing space is a key team member for you. So it's important that they're educated and understand and feel like they're an integral component to the success of your operation. So it's almost better to over communicate, over involve, and then decide when you need to have someone pull back than to exclude and break off. And there's a gap in information because we excluded, not intentionally, but by not thinking it through. So I think it's key to just involve and then bring them on because they're a part of your team. They're an extension of you.
Exactly right. So, and I was just going to bring to this point that understanding these rules means exactly what we were kind of saying before. Where are you? So let's say your business, you currently have a strategy, you do have a plan, you have, say, a content plan for the year. So maybe this person is just an implementer, right? And you're looking to make sure that they're implementing and they're measuring to give you that feedback. So you've got to really look at that, again, that rule. So was it a strategic rule? So how do they interact? Are they at those meetings that Michelle is talking about? Are they at that high level meeting? Understanding at every point what the marketing is intended to drive, right? And staying on track, because then that person now is supposed to help you from, not going rogue at any given point in time, right? So great second point in terms of how does this actually fit into your team? A lot of small businesses need somebody just on the outside so that they can focus on their core business. And that's where it normally opens the door to say, well, listen, we need somebody in digital to come on board.
Bringing everybody together and having everyone work in kumbaya, as they say, it actually, it could help to drive your costs down eventually, right? Because then you capture if there's any double work, first of all, because you capture if two people are actually doing the same thing, so maybe you need to transfer it over. And then you also capture if your actions are diverging your goals. So you may have this goal, but because you didn't bring people together, one person is doing this way and going along now. And it's probably not that it's bad work, not that it's bad what they're doing, but because they're not in communication with you or with the rest of the team, they're going off on a different pathway. And then the team is going off on a different pathway. And then we end up nowhere, or at least nowhere that you want it to be, right? And that would have meant wasted effort, wasted resources, wasted money. If it took you 2-3 months before you pick that up, then you realize, wait, I've been paying for these services and they have not benefited me. So bringing people together like that can help to be efficient and to help that money work for you.
Yeah. And it's something that we hear from people all the time, right? They may have spent, small amounts over months, but then over like a year, it's like thousands of dollars, and they didn't get what they wanted, or they didn't get what they needed because they never really kind of thought it through how it fit in, all those things. But it's funny. For every other role, they consider those things, right? So digital has just this it's an enigma, right? It's scary out there. So it's like, what do I need to do? And let me just get myself someone who does social media. So sometimes it's where we start, right? And it's okay to start there. If they think, this allows us, it's kind of going to give you that framework for thinking it through. Do you have the right person in place? Do you have the right team in place? Did you start at the top, or where should you be? So it's just definitely food for thought. So the next question is, what are the key performance indicators for each role? If you were hiring for a VP of blah, 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 you would know, hey, they need to bring in that extra this with 10%, blah, 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 to get their bonus, to get their this. You have those KPIs for that person. So what are the KPIs that you expect for this role? Now you can say, hey, your KPIs can be the regular KPIs you use, revenue, traffic, or whatever it is. But then you can translate that to digital. As you're working it through, you start translating, okay, what does this look like to digital? It's one of the things we see on this show all the time, or I say on the show all the time, is that when you have a KPI that is like a revenue KPI, what you need to understand is the steps in digital towards that, right? The metrics in digital towards that. So it's something like a click-through rate, a time on site, a form filled out, an email address collected, and then to a conversion metric, which gets you to the money. So you just start understanding those relevant metrics that matter, and you connect those dots. So you can create your metrics based on your business goals and keep it the way you need to keep it, but then go back and say, hey, this is where you start thinking about, and I'm going to start talking about this a little bit more as we go through the process, but this is where it could be really good to start working with a digital marketing consultant, right? Shameless plug, but it's important to kind of start getting that framework, because if you don't have the understanding, maybe your HR person is working with someone who's saying, hey, this is what you're looking for, this is what you're trying to accomplish based on these things, and here's how you start connecting the dots, because that way you can get a solid structure and a clear understanding of how you can, really make sure and connect those dots with your KPIs back to those digital KPIs.
I love this one. I love this conversation that I have with my clients in this respect, because one of the things we discuss is we need to be definitive here. Specificity is really important, and it's not an emotion. It's not an I feel this would be great and I envision success if I have greater visibility. What does that mean? We need to put a number to it. So if you're anticipating, and we've mapped out what our sales expectations are, reverse engineer it. If we're bringing someone into the fold to help with digital marketing, that it's important to be transparent and provide an idea of what that goal is and what your expectation of them is. So if it is of this marketing, we're looking for 25% of that $100,000 goal to come from your efforts. That means this is $25,000. We anticipate on this clock, for my watch that I have on right now, we anticipate that this means for us that this is going to happen in quarterly efforts by this many dollars over this time span, so that you're mentally understanding what this means to your bottom line, and you're also outlining what the expectation is of that person and what their value is to your business. So you have to put it in black and white terms and put it out there and be totally transparent. And can they deliver to that? Or can you exceed that expectation, because that's a cost that you've added to the bottom line. So you're looking for to reap that benefit in a defined, specific way that's easy to understand. So it's not an I feel, or it would be great to have more likes. No, we need to see some dollars that's attached to that in a specific sales fashion.
Well, I always love a KPI. I always love a KPI discussion. A KPI discussion is where it's at. A KPI discussion is where the money really shows up, or at least where you understand if the money is going to show up, right? So it's really important to figure out what is that thing that you want to measure this by, because whatever success looks like to you will eventually help you to achieve your goals. And I want to stress on the point that KPIs are specific to your business. If you are going from a brand new page, you're now trying to build, your KPIs are going to look different than somebody who has a suite of digital marketing efforts already behind them. It will look different from somebody who has a functioning page, who have followers of maybe 5,000 and above. They're going to look different. So always remember that the KPIs is where it's at in terms of being able to determine if you're heading towards your goals and if you're going off track.
What she said. Well, I'll add to it because I think what happens for a lot of small businesses coming into the game is you get approached, and the metrics that you are given in terms of what they will do tend to be related to something that's not relevant to you, right? So, in other words, that engagement tends to be around the number of posts they will make per week, the number of creatives they will do, but that may not be what you're really centering on, right? So you've got to be clear on what that looks like, just as we have discussed. Everybody has lent their pointed. So be clear on those KPIs, making sure that they are KPIs that move the needle, as we say.
100%, definitely, guys. So I know we're like we have a few things to cover, so we're gonna not speed through these, but do you prefer specialists in each area or a generalist who can manage multiple aspects of the digital marketing? I mean, that is a that is a great question, right? So I think you have to really understand what you're trying to accomplish. So just like Andrew was saying in the beginning, if you don't have a website, you don't need an SEO consultant just yet. You may need to understand your content and how that works, but you're not going to have someone optimize your website. If you are, if you're just starting off, where do you want to focus? Are you going to have someone just creating content for you, right? So you need to understand, am I looking for a generalist, or am I looking for someone who's going to do something specific to achieve that business goal? Now, if you have a website, you want to be in a space of, okay, cool, how do I get to getting market share on Google or on Bing or any of those search engines? That's a conversation you want. How do you show up? And that's where SEO comes in. So you can say, hey, I'm really looking to gain market share there. Can I work with someone who will drive more leads, drive more traffic, more relevant traffic to my site, where I can say, I got these 10 leads from my website, and this is how this works for me. That's why I worked with an SEO consultant. Or maybe I'm looking at paid advertising. So you really have to determine what you're looking for. Do you have the tools? Is that a part of your strategy before you get someone? And then the other thing you want to consider definitely is, are you looking for someone to execute a plan? So you may have worked with a consultant who said, here's the plan. You got a plan. You understand how that's going to work to achieve your business goals. Are you looking for someone to execute, and then you follow up on those things, right? Execute with an implementation plan, all those things. Because if you're working with a consultant, you should get a full plan with implementation as well.
I think this speaks to definitely where you as the business owner, where's your comfort level with digital, right? What's your comfort level, your understanding of that holistic marketing platform, different channels, etc. So that might mean, just as Tamara is saying, you've come to that point where you have a plan, you have a strategy, and you're looking at implementation. So maybe you're looking at a specialist, you're looking at only maybe SEO specifically, or a certain platform specifically. So another great place to think about it in terms of what's your digital comfort and what does this person really bring to the table to help enhance that comfort.
I think it will come back to the KPIs as well, right? It comes back to what area you want to focus on, because just as Debbie mentioned there, she would vote for somebody in video marketing. That's where she wants to focus on. Somebody else might actually want a specialist in blogs, in blog writing, because they're probably trying to build that blog audience, because they're probably going down a different pathway. So I think, this is a great question to link back to the first point of thinking about your goals, thinking about your KPIs, because a generalist might work well for you. You probably have different pieces in different areas, and you just want to make sure you keep things going. Or if you want to dive head in first and you say, you know what, this is my year, I want to launch my YouTube channel, then that means you're going to look for somebody who's a specialist in video and getting those things off the ground.
Look at you plugging Debbie right away. I love that. Video specialist. That's amazing. All right, we're gonna move on to the next question. Michelle, you'll take this one first. What ongoing training and development will you provide to ensure these roles evolve with digital trends? Now, guys, this right here is so important because so digital is ever changing and moving and speeding. There are times where I'm just studying to stay relevant. You have to study, do the homework, stay on trend. So you can't hire someone and then not make sure that they're educated and learning more and staying on trend to help you grow your business and connecting those dots. And it might be a little bit more practical training, practical solutions where they're working on your business. Like let's just say, for instance, this is crazy that I have another plug. If you have a course or something, or if you have a workshop that lends to, hey, here's how we can work on your strategy, your business strategy, so that person comes back and learns a little bit more. It is really staying on the pulse of the education for digital that matters, that can move your business forward. So they come in the door knowing one thing, the business shifts their perspective, and then the trends also shifts their perspective. And I mean, I pay attention to different things in different industries to see how that can work for our clients, where our pivots need to be. So it's super important that the education piece is met.
This is a two-way street in this piece, in both places. For the person that you're bringing in, that you're hiring into your business as a partner, the evolution of your business and you cluing them in and having them understanding components about your business that they may not know. Most of these individuals are great in their space, but are not specialists in your particular line of business. So it's in your best interest to keep that continuing education going for whomever that you're bringing in and committing to providing that information to them for the success to happen. Failure is abound if you don't. Now, on the opposite side, for you, the continuing education, the CE is important, not just in understanding what's going on in the greater market, but in each one of these spaces. Time is evolving. This is a fast changing place. Well, we had a conversation last week and the week before about how AI is evolving so quickly that you have to almost look at things on a daily basis or have some form of information coming to you so that you understand how things are evolving. In order for you to really understand that touch point and your expectation of a digital strategist or someone that's coming into your space to help you to resolve that, you need to understand the lingo. You need to understand what's moving and how that's evolving and changing and have that two-way street as well. So is that an expectation that you have with that person coming into your space to help you to learn that? Or are you also trying to learn that on your own so that you may have other points to question them on, to be a check and a balance, or to just ask a question to not assume that things are moving in a specific way? So I think that educational piece is imperative on both sides of the table. You helping them to know more about your business, and then you understanding the digital landscape a lot better.
And don't forget to add in at that really operational implementation level, everything that you're using in your tech stack for marketing, they're constantly updated. A lot more of these software as a service companies provide really robust training programs on their platforms and the direction. So if we're going straight down from that, from the top level of strategy and so on, those types of positions, down to those positions that implement, you want at the very least to make sure that your staff is staying up to date on the latest trends on the platform, the latest features on the platform, because we often say that we're not utilizing these platforms to 100%. So you want to make sure that's an ongoing part of training, that they stay up to date with those platforms as well.
Oh, that's like a genius point. All right, we're moving on along. How will these roles fit into your overall marketing strategy? Because you have a marketing strategy already, right? Because you have things you've been doing offline, some other things you've been doing. So it's not like there's not a marketing strategy. So any of these roles that you're hiring for, how does that lean into what you're currently doing? And is it going to be counterproductive, or does it fit into it? Is it an extension of it? So Andrew, I'm gonna let you take this one first, because I think really, really important here.
Yes, it's really important to understand how these roles will complement your marketing efforts. And the thing about it is, don't forget marketing efforts. When we say marketing, we still mean traditional marketing as well. Yes, we speak about digital marketing here, but the term marketing still encompasses some of the traditional media that that you're accustomed to. So it still will encompass things like if you want to do a TV ad, radio ad, that sort of thing. So if we're talking about these digital marketing tools, the question really is here, how does it really fit into all the other marketing efforts that you are doing? So if you still have you still have elements of traditional, how does digital support that? What does it look like for you? It could look like, well, I'm doing TV ads, but then on my social media, we take the ad and maybe we make it ready. We take pieces of it and we make content of it and we're sharing it on social media. How are all these different rules helping you still maintain whatever position it is that you are following for your business? What positioning strategy that you're trying to apply for your business? How are these rules going to help you get there? And it could be something like if you're trying to get into a particular market or get into a particular audience, how is digital marketing and all these different rules helping you do that? If you're trying to tap into a particular age bracket based on the product that you're selling, you know, does this help or does this hurt? Right? If you're trying to tap in, definitely if you're trying to tap into a market that anybody under 24, maybe TV, maybe the traditional one might not be the best for you. You're going to have to lean into more of the digital marketing role. So it's about how is it working with what you already have set up and how is it complementing? Because don't forget, you can still have traditional things happening at the same time. And we want digital to complement. We don't want digital to hurt any other effort that you're doing, but you definitely want digital to complement and help maximize those efforts.
Good stuff. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, so we're going to hit our last question, and then Michael, I'm going to kick this over to you. It's going to be a good one because you kind of talked about it, right? A little bit. The tools. Are you, as a business owner, as a business executive, are you prepared to invest in the tools and technology for those roles to really be effective? That's super, super important because for the strategist or the SEO person or the content writer to do the job, there are certain tools that help them to be effective. And are you prepared to pay for those things? Are you prepared to invest in those things? So, Mike, I'm going to kick this over to you.
Yeah, this is a great operational question, right? So what are you supporting? What activities are you supporting in tech? So you've brought in people in these roles. So you've brought in, say, an SEO strategy. That's a great example. But what are you using? What SEO tool are you using? Because of course you're not expecting somebody to just come and, oh well, I'm using this, and then if you change a person, they're using something else, right? You're setting that standard from the company side, from the business side. And you've got to see it as an investment, right? So you're investing in people, but you're investing in the tools that the people will need. So what's your CRM system? What's your content management system? What's your scheduling system for emails and so on? So it's a great place to start thinking in terms of when I get this person, what is their toolkit that they will work with on a daily basis to get the result? How much is it going to cost? Because that's the cost. What's the underlying platform I'm using? Am I using a CRM? Am I using HubSpot? So that has a cost, and that has to be maintained in order for the person to do their job well. So you've got to be prepared to make not only the people investment, but the technology investment that sustains it. You may even go as far as we said, enrolling that person, say, in courses that are related to that platform or product or tool. So as I said, a lot of these software packages now have really robust training programs, and that's where you may have to look at investment over time to make sure that that position continues to perform well and have its relevance to the bottom line of the business. I see Andrea shaking her head because that means the numbers went through her head right there.
No, that's amazing. That's a really good answer and such an important piece of the pie, right? What tools are you willing to invest in for this to be successful? Because you want this hire to be successful. So I'm going to pass it over to each of you to give your 30-second wrap up on this conversation around what every business owner, business executive needs to understand when they're hiring for digital marketing roles. Sometimes some of the things that they get wrong, right? So go for it.
Well, I'll start off the wrap up since I just came off, but I want business owners to really understand that, yes, like most new fields, especially when we came into, say, the technology era and they had all the information technology fields, right? We are now in this era of it's spawned a whole new host of titles and so, but you've got to keep your goal clear. What is this person coming to do? And make sure that what they speak to the engagement, it speaks to what happens at the end of the day, at the bottom line in terms of measurement and accomplishment.
Digital marketing has blown up in the sense that, the way that you hire now it's so different. All these traditional work roles that you're accustomed to, these roles have been in existence for so long. It's kind of like an accountant, for example. Our job specs haven't really changed much, or our goals haven't really changed much from when accountancy began. We have some technology coming into play there, but for the most part, you could count on the accountant is responsible for the numbers and responsible for certain key things as it pertains to finance. Digital marketing has entered the game now, and now you have all these different roles that could really confuse you at times. And as a small business owner, you're probably wondering, well, how do I know which one is right for me? And I think the takeaway I want persons to understand is all may not be right for you right now, and all may actually at some point never be right for you, right? You may actually only end up using 2 out of the 3, right? So whereas before, when digital marketing first started, it was just one, you could just hire this person who understood these things and they would help you with all the different aspects of it. We've now gotten so granular that you really have to ask yourself, who is it that I really want? Do I want somebody specialized in graphics? Do I want somebody specializing in video? Do I want somebody specializing in blogs? It's gotten so granular, like I said, and that's why I compared it to accountants. At the end of the day, we're still doing numbers work, right? But the specialties that exist within digital marketing, you really have to ask yourself these questions, and don't be afraid if it is a lot of the rules end up becoming not applicable to you, because not everything may be applicable to you right now. And don't be afraid if it never becomes applicable to you because of the business strategy that you're taking.
From a sales perspective, I will say that digital plays a key role in your sales journey from the very first part of it. What component of it plays what role at each stage will vary, but it is key to your success in every stage of your sales journey. We need help in marketing. We need help in helping us to facilitate the know, like, trust factor that we have that we're looking to put out in the environment. We need digital marketing to bring in those qualified leads to our business. We need marketing to have a recourse to reach back out to our clients, to recover, as we spoke about in our hot topic, to market specific things and to get that message out. So every stage from the moment we meet someone or try to meet someone to and through the sales cycle, it's important. So we need that at the table. So don't think that you can come into this and disregard it. You need it at the table, and how you bring it in is going to be important to the success of your business. So that the intention is really key. The informative part is really key, and understanding that they are part of your sales at every key step of the journey is important. So take the time, invest the opportunity and the time into the business, and understand where they fit in each component of your sales cycle. Success is at the table and will be there. But if you take digital away, it's going to be hard for you to be successful and to achieve the goals that you've outlined.
We get it. Hiring for digital can be confusing. There's a lot to consider, connecting it to your business goals. But you definitely should put the effort in, and this gives you a blueprint. This entire conversation here gives you a blueprint for what you can do, where you can start. I'm definitely a proponent of working with a digital marketing consultant because then you get to understand some things. Also, spend some time educating yourself. Just understand what the roles really do, so you can have a general conversation about it. Right? You do research before you do anything else. Do the research, understand some things, ask some questions, so that you're hiring the right person and you're not wasting money, right? Because you don't want to do that, because that's really where we hear businesses for years they spent money investing in this piece. While it's important, it may not be the piece that you needed at that moment. So you're continuing to do that piece of the strategy that is kind of like, it's a little bit more tactical. Whereas the strategy is, I want to get to 10, 20 leads per month, and that looks different. And we spend a lot of time in that top of the funnel area when we're doing the marketing and digital, right? Very much of hello, hello, hello. That's what happens at the top of the funnel. We're not looking at people throughout that funnel. So that's another piece of the pie. So definitely get with a digital marketing consultant. We help that at Monoman Digital, to get you the right strategy in place, or the right idea of what you should hire for.